So in 20 years of real estate, how many years?
24.
And I think I'm 21.
23.
Or something like that. There's a ton of mistakes that we see first-time buyers make, but not only first-time buyers, but people who actually bought houses before. So we're gonna uncover the top 5, maybe it turns into 6 mistakes that people make when they go start shopping for a house.
The first one in my mind is when you first start shopping and you're online looking. Almost everybody shops online at first. So knowing how that process works is really, really important. What are you clicking on? Who's answering on the other side? And what do you have to expect when someone calls you back because you showed interest in a property?
Yeah, typically you're gonna start shopping online, and you should shop for like months online. You should actually really start the process early and get a feel for the markets, get a feel for the prices, all of those things. But at some point it's gonna get to where your level of seriousness is that to where you're gonna click a button and you're gonna actually initiate a sequence where you get access to a property.
Yeah, it's really great to shop online, looky-loo, whatever you want to call it, check out photos, decide, and to track how fast things are moving. Sometimes it's good to do online for a little while ahead of time, but when you're looking to pick a professional person to help you buy a home, might not be the best idea.
No, a lot of people jump into this process, they'll use Zillow or Redfin, and they're still kind of early on. They're still kind of in that like information collecting stage. So maybe that's you. But the moment you click that button, it starts the process of you actually talking with realtors. And so a lot of people are really unaware of how that all works. And they get into this situation where now they feel really pressured to actually use this random person that they connected with. And that's really not the way that we would suggest. We really want you to work with a person that is vetted, has a lot of experience in the market, and that is somebody that can truly help you negotiate that property. And let's be honest, I mean, how many people do you think that is out of just randomly clicking to see a house?
I would say 1 out of 20 is probably a good filter.
So the second mistake that most people make is not working with somebody who, once you are ready to purchase, like, do you really understand what I'm looking for? Do you understand the things that I want, the things that I need? And what would completely rule out a property? So it's having this kind of needs analysis conversation, whoever it is that you're gonna choose to help you.
Yeah, we see this all the time, especially with couples where there's one person that thinks they know what's going on and the other person knows what's going on, and maybe they both haven't really communicated clearly or not, and then they go out and start shopping and they realize, oh, we really don't know what we're doing yet and we haven't agreed. So sitting down and taking some time to really go over your deal breakers is a huge part of this process. Location is a big one. Knowing where you want to live, knowing how far that commute is, I would say that's the number one thing out of that. That mistake is buying a home too far away from where you actually want to live is not a great choice.
Yeah, so buying a home, especially with a couple, is always about kind of compromises. So like it's really hard to find the dream home unless you're paying the money to actually just build your own house with a custom builder. So when we're talking about the space of the yard, when we're talking about open layouts, when we're talking about, do we really need a 4th bedroom? Because maybe it's an office space. So it's just really being on the same page with all of that and actually communicating that to a realtor that can actually proactively look at properties on your behalf and send you properties that maybe aren't even on the market.
Huge mistake that people make while they're shopping for homes is not knowing their numbers yet. So sitting down with a financial advisor, sitting down with a lender, getting your numbers figured out as far as what the payment's gonna be per month, sitting down and thinking about whether we can afford an HOA in addition to our payment, or whether the taxes in this area make sense for our budget, those kind of things, anything to do with the financial. So in addition to the monthly payment and the HOA and all that other stuff, there's also like out-of-pocket expenses, and then knowing what your interest rate versus APR, some of these fancy terms with lenders. So the inspection, what's that gonna cost? The earnest money, what's that gonna cost? The appraisal, what's that gonna cost? Those are all out-of-pocket things that you wanna go over your financial advisor or your lender or both with. Another huge mistake that I see people make more often than you would think is making assumptions about what the home actually looks like on the inside just based off the photography. Sometimes photography is great. Sometimes it shows you a an excellent representation of the property. Sometimes they edit the photos and it's too great. It looks terrible when you walk in. Other times the photos are bad, dark, not professional, and the house is actually way better inside than it looks in the pictures. So you could make a mistake if you don't look at the home. You could get a great house that nobody else is looking at because the photos are kind of stinky.
Yeah, I mean, and it happens in reverse too. Like, that's how it should happen, by the way, because realtors are hired to market a property well. And so the house should look better in person. Well, actually,
No,
it should look better
in the
online.
pictures,
Yeah, it should look better online than in person. And so just understanding that there's a distinction there.
Yeah, so sometimes when you look at photos and you're like, I don't like those photos, you should still go look, or at least have your realtor go look, because it might be the best house on the market and the photos were just dark.
The next mistake we see people make all the time is they'll actually get advice from this random third party to the process because there's rapport there. Maybe it's an uncle or somebody who they know that is in the past like 30 years been a home inspector. And then all of a sudden there's this other person involved that actually kind of messes up the deal, that doesn't really know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I see it a lot with either parents or a brother or somebody in the family that did this 5 years ago or whatever. And unfortunately, markets are really seasonal and really annual. So if you know somebody that bought a home 3 years ago, their opinion isn't really gonna help you right now. So unless they bought a home last week with the same realtor in the same neighborhood, at the same exact scenario, it's not helpful to have a third person involved.
Or they're filling their head with like this doom and gloom, the market's gonna crash, maybe you shouldn't make this decision. And I've seen a lot of people get pulled into that should have bought 10 years ago, that now are still renting or something like that, and they missed out on a lot of opportunity to have some wealth for themselves in real estate.
Totally the doom and gloom, but also when I bought my house, I got this, or when I bought my house, I got that, or when I bought my house, this is how it went. And those things may have been true in that market for that time. It's just really hard to compare apples to oranges like that and have expectations based on someone else's experience.
Yeah, when I bought this foreclosure property, I got this great deal, or I bought this house that was on the market for 45 days, and so I got $20,000 under asking, and I got $15,000 in closing costs, when the reality is the property that you may be looking at just got listed in the last few days, it was underpriced, and now there's 15 people that want to buy it, and so it's actually a great deal at its current list price.
Yeah. Listen to the professional. Moral of the story. Listen to the professional.
So the last tip is the person that is looking at homes online, right? And they think they think that all the details are given to them in that Zillow listing or that Redfin listing. But the reality is you should actually bounce it off somebody who has access to more information.
Yeah, one thing that's pretty common is people have a certain type of loan type that they're available to use. Maybe you're an FHA loan, or maybe you're a conventional loan or a VA loan. And then you go and read through and it'll list out what they will and will not accept an offer from as far as financing. Also, some properties are cash only.
Yeah.
And some are like a special type of loan, like a tiny home is only gonna have a non-conforming loan that will work with it. So there's just certain types of properties that don't work with all the financing. And you can tell if you learn how to read each one of the ways that the marketing is written up, you can start to delineate what's what.
Yeah, half the time when I look up a listing for somebody who sends me a listing to vet for them, there's all these facts that they wouldn't have known. So I can look at the disclosure statement, I can see that the roof needs to be like fully redone, I can see that there's been a plumbing leak, there's all kinds of stuff that the realtor is gonna have access to. And so if you were at that point in your search where you were actually serious and you're gonna go look at a property and you think you may make an offer, and it's not just like go to look at what the view looks like there and stuff like that, it is best to like just be in a relationship some way where you can bounce it off of them, because half the time there's going to be something that maybe rules out even looking at it all together, where it would have been a taking time away from your Saturday where you could have been with family or something like that.
We have videos for buyers, sellers, and people relocating to the area. Check out our playlist and hopefully we can help.